Okay, I'm trying to do this with my phone instead of with the camera because the air conditioning's on and I'm sick of battling it. So we'll see how this works. Um, Hi, my name is Caroline Clark. I am an artist and designer living in Colorado Springs, and I just had a baby. So I am going to talk a little bit about how I planned for maternity leave and how I'm executing that as a self-employed full-time artist. So I found out I was pregnant, I guess, back in October of 2022. It was not long after I had just moved into my studio, hired 2 part-time employees, and was starting to prioritize making art instead of just like packing and shipping art. That was a really great move that I made in preparing for having a kid and going on maternity leave that I didn't realize that I had done. So having somebody to help, whether that be like your mom, training your mom on how to do some of the things, some of the administrative things, or like a friend to come over. Yeah, just having help. I think that's been the biggest thing that I've done that has been so helpful. Because now, like, I've been gone a month. I haven't even really set foot in the studio for a month, but things have continued to keep moving, keep going, because I have Carrie and Becca here doing all the legwork for me, which has been amazing. The other thing that I did was I tried to create a bunch of work beforehand, knowing that I'm going to be going into this time of not really being able to create that much. This is my second kid. I have a 4.5-year-old, and I had her back in 2019. My business was not nearly anywhere close to where it is now, but I still couldn't create and felt really overwhelmed by the lack of art that I was making. So I knew this go around that was going to be coming. So, and it's really hard. You have to push yourself to create more than you probably would. And some of the stuff that you make might not be great, but I needed to have product out there. My business is partially, yeah, I should have mentioned that at the beginning. If you don't know who I am, don't know what I do, I have an online store where I create prints, postcards, stickers, all the fun artisty things, and I sell those. But then I also have a business where it's the same business where people will hire me to create things for them. So mostly right now that's been concert posters, merchandise for artists or for other brands. Occasionally I'll do branding, logos, that kind of stuff. So I knew that was all going to be, that side of things, doing stuff for other things was going to be pretty much going away as soon as I had the kid, because I can't be tied down with deadlines when you have a kid, because you will utterly fail. I actually did accept 2 jobs. So my daughter was due to be born the first week of August, and I did accept 2 jobs that had deadlines at the end of August. But like I said, I pushed really hard to create before she came. And so I was able to actually get the bulk of those projects done before she was born. So you're going to be tired. You're going to not be able to do things that you want to do. But for the sake of creation, it's important. And know that you're probably going to be even more tired after you have the kid. Yeah, I think in the same hand as pushing myself really hard before she came, now that she's here, I've got really easy on myself. I'm not trying to crank out stuff, but making a plan for how you're going to continue to create once the baby comes is a really big deal. I see it a lot with other creators who, they announce that they're pregnant, so excited. They're making stuff through the pregnancy, and then once they have the kid, they disappear off the face of the earth. Sometimes for several months, sometimes for forever. Because having a kid can suck. It will suck all of your time out. And if you don't make a plan for creating consistently once the kid comes, you can let yourself get overwhelmed by the kid. And it's really hard to ramp back up again. So sitting down with your husband, your partner, and making a plan for you being able to create a couple times a week or for a few hours or one day or whatever. Having a plan in place, a gentle plan, a flexible plan is really important. But especially if you're like me and you kind of rely a little bit on the income that you make from creating, having a plan and sticking to it is pretty crucial. The other thing is to talk to an accountant or a tax person to see if there's any sort of program in your state for maternity leave, care, compensation, whatever, for self-employed individuals. I know in Colorado, I didn't qualify for it, which stinks. But in Colorado, starting in 2024, you can pay into, it's basically like maternity leave, paternity leave insurance. And so you pay like a small monthly fee to the government. And if you have to take maternity leave, then they'll pay you, I don't know what amount, for paternity leave, maternity leave. I did not qualify because I had my kid in 2023 and the program doesn't start until 2024. So here I am 1 month later, back in the office. But finding out about stuff like that, I think is pretty nice. But other than that, having a network of people around you is so helpful. I didn't really have that with my first, and I wish that I had. I now have family in town. I've got friends who are willing to help. We've got a girl who watches my daughter, and we pay her, but she just watches her in her house. And we've been able to sort of cobble together, because my schedule is pretty flexible. My husband's schedule is pretty flexible. So we've been able to cobble together time for both of us to work. Being able to work at night also is really great. A lot of people have traditional jobs. They can't work if they're not in the office. But I just need an iPad or a sketchbook or a laptop, and I can work. And this is something that I forced myself to do after my first daughter, and that was working at night. After she would go to bed, making time to just sit on the couch, put on a show that I've seen 1,000 times, usually Parks and Rec, and making work. And if you're just now starting out or you're not very far along, referring to it as work, this is like mindset, whatever, but referring to it as work and not as like drawing or making art or whatever, but calling it, no, I need to work. I think that was really helpful for me and for my husband to put it in that category in our brain of, this is something that I need to be doing. This is not something that I'm just doing as a hobby. This is something that I'm pursuing as a career. So calling it work instead of just, he would always call it drawing and I would always call it doing art. If you want it to be more than that, you refer to it as more than that, I think. Those are my biggest tips. Getting somebody else that knows how to do some of this stuff. If you have a store, if you have anything that requires admin, fulfillment, whatever, getting somebody else to help you ahead of time. I was lucky that I had 9 full months to train my people so that by the time I left, it was pretty seamless. Getting a schedule, a plan in place for after the baby comes for you to continue to create, dialing it down, obviously, because you're not going to have that much time, but also knowing that barring any kind of abnormality, you're going to have more time to create when they're newborns as opposed to as they get older and more aware and more wiggly, and then they go to preschool and then you have more time to create. And also forcing yourself to do more work before they come. If you're somebody like me who relies, unfortunately, on social media and content creation, I made a lot of stuff before my baby came that I didn't post until after she came, that kind of thing. I did not make YouTube videos. So now I'm doing that. I'm doing my penance right now. And putting it in your head, you and whoever's helping you out, that creating, if this is what you want for a career, this is your job, this is work. You need to make time for it and you need to take it very seriously. There's a goofy looking guy outside my window and I keep looking at him. If you have any other questions about how to be a mom and be a full-time artist, please let me know. Would love to attempt to answer them. It can be done. That's the big thing that I've learned after having my first one and now doing it again, is that it can be done. It will be really frustrating and really hopeless at sometimes because you'll feel, especially if it's your first, you'll feel like I'm never going to be able to make art the way that I used to. And I think that having a kid, while it does slow down your art, I have never talked to another artist who's a mother who has regretted it, A, but B, not had their art and their whole process change for the better. So I really want to encourage you, especially if you're thinking about having kids. I absolutely think you should. Having kids is the best if you have the means and the ability. It is not a hindrance to your art process. It only enhances it because it changes the way you think about the world, how you think about creation, how you think about the world that your art is being put into. Becoming a mom changed my art immensely for the better. It made me want to stand behind my art better. I wanted to be proud of everything that I made because I wanted my daughter to be proud of her mom. But it will make your art better. I'm confident. I've never met a mom that hadn't had that experience. I think I'm done. I think this is a video. Okay, I'm done.